Hey guys, what's going on? Druzy here, back again with another South Park Phone Destroyer video and another kind of beginner's guide for the newest card out into the game, which is currently Commander Hat, which I know what you're thinking first and foremost. Is Commander Hat a Hat character card or is it a Garrison card? It is technically a Garrison card. You cannot play other Garrison cards with this card on screen. So it does not function the same way that, say, Cupid Cartman does, where you can play other Cartmans with Cupid Cartman on screen. You cannot do that with Commander Hat. I know what you're thinking. It's a different card. We're going to have different hat cards throughout the game on other themes. I'm going to say this right now. I guarantee you myself that probably won't be the case. Will Red Links do that? Maybe. I highly doubt that will happen. So there's that. So this is the sci-fi version of Garrison. It is, of course, Commander Hat, which we already mentioned. Commander Hat, pretty strong card right now in the game. Does have one major flaw that I have noticed with gameplay that I did do on my live stream yesterday. It's about, if you look at the card information, the war cry, it says orders to kill the closest high cost ground enemy until it dies. Now, what that means is, how it reads is, when the character is dead or has no more health, you would assume that that would stop, or that Commander Hat would stop attacking that unit. But it seems to be when the death animation of that character completely ends is when that animation actually stops, or this ability actually ceases to be being produced. So that can be very problematic. There have been times where I've lost numerous numbers of my units that basically focus forward in trying to do damage to the unit that I had it initially target, that it basically went all the way through the death animation and it almost completely wiped out my units, which therefore caused my push to fail. So until Red Links addresses this, it's going to continue to be a problem, and this card really loses a lot of its key features and fun value out of it until that's actually dealt with. So maybe there will be a balance to change that in the future, but as of right now, as of recording of this video, that has not been fixed, and therefore this card is not as strong as it could be. But I think this card is one of the strongest cards in the game right now, realistically, if that's ever changed to where once the card has 0 health, it defocuses on them, this card's going to be very strong. But like always in these kind of videos, we're going to go through what I think are the top 5 cards right now for this card, as well as cards that really help Commander Hat out and cards that do really well at canceling Commander Hat. One final tip that I really will probably mention multiple times in this video: view this card not as a character card, more as a cancel card that does damage and has health. That seems weird to think, but view it like Inuit Kenny, but a range version. It's different because it's not a direct cancel, but the main focus of this card is to target a high health or a high energy cost unit. Generally, those are tank cards or cards that are very annoying and could be systematically destroy you. But most of the time, some of the higher cost energy units are tanks. One exception I would have would be the couple of range cards like Call Girl and Pope Timmy. But outside of that, this card is extremely situational. This card will not be used in every push or even in every match. There were a lot of matches in this stream that I didn't use this card. But I still don't think the value of this card is dwarfed because of that. I still think this card is very strong, and I think that people will realize its strength, if not now, very much later on as this card goes a little bit further on into the game. So let's just quickly look at the top 5 cards real quick. Me, guys, the top 5 cards I think to pair with Commander Hat might be unique, and some might debate this down below, and that's completely fine. Always leave your comments of what you think, cards that work really well with him. I really like Visitors. Visitors are insanely good. Any range card, realistically, works well with Commander Hat, because the main focus of that is to be at range to be able to do that damage. Yes, unfortunately, they're going to target something that could potentially be very far away and leave them vulnerable to die. But Visitors do insane damage. They're going to get an insane damage boost on top of what they already do. And their attack speed is going to be increased even more than what it already is, which is already ridiculous, to where, as you can see here, it's just going to be ridiculous. Visitors do really well with this. Bounty Hunter Kyle, I think, is a sleeper that some people undervalued in how good he is with this card. I saw him a lot when I streamed in this event. So some people that obviously have figured out Bounty Hunter Kyle works really well with Commander Hat. So the big focus of Bounty Hunter Kyle is giving that continued boost of attack damage as well as potential healing if you kill an enemy with him to boost all of the allies that he's basically on the field with him. So the fact that he's going to be attacking faster and stronger means that he has more potential to kill units to heal and more potential to buff as well, because he's going to have that continued increased damage output by being able to attack faster. So Bounty Hunter Kyle is really good with Commander Hat, in my opinion. Rats or any really swarm unit, pigeons work pretty well here. Underpants gnomes were working fairly well. Now, Chaos hamsters will not get boosted by Commander Hat. Remember, they don't get affected by any positive boost because of their little hamster balls, cause that to not happen. But I think rats are really good for this slot here. Sizzler Stewart, obviously in the same theme, very good. You're going to get a nice attack boost for Sizzler Stewart, so he's going to be able to build up his speed attack from his war cry much faster if he's going to be able to attack faster and hit harder with Commander Hat helping him out. So Sizzler Stewart works really well with this. A sleeper that worked really well for some people against me more than for me was Call Girl. Call Girl has insane attack speed. You guys know this that have played her or seen her enough to know this. She's got a nice boost to her overall damage and health in the past, like a couple of months ago. So with him boosting her attack even more, and the fact that her attack speed already is insane and it's going to get a little bit better, Call Girl just absolutely rips people. Now the problem, of course, Call Girl, of course, is high cost, so I mean, that could be hard for you to get both her and Commander Hat on the field at the same time. That would be 10 energy. So obviously, it probably wouldn't work out better for you until late game. Or early game, if you're lucky. You would already have 8 energy at your disposal at the beginning, and then you just have to wait a little bit to get enough energy to get Commander Hat. Plus, Call Girl would summon, hopefully, a unit that would help you as well. So you'd have a lot of potential to do some decent damage right off the bat. So I think Call Girl's a sleeper. You could also argue that Dar is really, really good for him. Be able to revive him, bring him back, make him be able to use his war cry multiple times. So Dar I would either say if you don't have Call Girl unlocked, Dar is definitely a better option. But I think Call Girl, if you have her at a decent level, is a really strong card to use with Commander Hat. But now that we've looked at the top 5 cards, in my opinion, let's look at some other cards that really help Commander Hat excel more. Here on screen, you see a lot of cards here. So Underpants Gnomes, any swarm, realistically, Underpants Gnomes, Terrence and Philip, Pigeon Game, the first 3 here, really do well with him. To have that increased, to have more units on the field, obviously, is going to make Commander Hat's ability or war cry that much stronger, because all of those are getting that boost, right? All of those are being able to do that extra damage and attack faster. Now, you could argue that you could put Chicken Coop on here as well, but the issue with Chicken Coop that I had, even when I had Chicken Coop in my deck with him, was that, you know, you can't guarantee how much of the swarm is going to come out, how many cocks are you actually going to have on the field. I mean, again, it's situational when you can cast Commander Hat to be the most effective, but I mean, you could put Chicken Coop here. I'm not saying Chicken Coop's a terrible idea. It's just situationally, it's not going to happen very often for you. That's really going to excel the way you maybe want. So that's why I didn't add it to this list. The next couple of cards here. So all of these, basically on the rest of the top row, I consider the hard-hitting cards. There are some others that you could add to this list as well. But the 3 main Randys here, and yes, Sexy Nun Randy would also technically be involved in that. But I think that 6th Element Randy, Pocahontas Randy, and Mary Jane Randy really hit hard. Now, Mary Jane Randy's been nerfed a little bit. He's still a strong card. Plus, he's going to have that distraction with his plant, so he's going to be very good for this. Poco Randy attacks fast already and hits hard. 6th Element Randy doesn't attack very fast, but does hit hard and is in the same theme. So there's a lot of upside for those Randys to just devastate. Shieldman Wendy has actually really good, decent attack. Plus, she has the ability to shield herself temporarily every few seconds. So there's that. So she's going to stay alive longer, hit hard, hit faster, all that good stuff. It's just nothing but a positive. And she's a cheap cost, so you would potentially have her on the field with Commander Hat as well. Ink and Craig is hard-hitting in both his Warcry ability, just going to be able to hopefully wipe some units out for you right away. And then be able to obviously use his attack, because his damage actually isn't horrid, but he just attacks very slow with his basic attack. So the fact that he's going to get that boost from Commander Hat is going to make him hit that much harder. But again, it's a high energy cost for Ink and Craig and Commander Hat. That's 9 energy you'd have to commit to. So it could be difficult to get that to work together sometimes. Mecha Timmy, he's a pretty hard-hitting range card for the most part. He's got great range, and his damage output is pretty solid. Medusa Bebe as well, same kind of thing. And the fact that if she kills a unit, then that becomes a snake, which that snake, if you didn't kill the unit you were trying to kill, could then also become a unit that Commander Hat could use, right? Hanky and Mysterion are very hard-hitting assassins. A lot of these assassins hit very hard, but these two I think hit hardest out of all of them, maybe. Some will debate me and say that there are some that hit harder than they do, but Mysterion does hit insanely hard, and Hanky also does too. So those two work really well with Commander Hat, in my opinion. And other than Mysterion, Hanky's pretty cheap, so you'd be able to potentially have him. These cards on the next row here kind of help his damage output. So obviously Master Ninju and Gunslinger Kyle will boost his initial damage. Gunslinger Kyle obviously would only do it with his charge up. Elven King Bradley, of course, will help because Commander Hat's a range card, so it's going to help do that additional damage as well. Warboy Tweak will increase his overall base speed, but speed boosts don't stack on top of each other. So if Commander Hat is using his attack speed buff and you use Warboy Tweak at the same time, it won't double stack to where all those units go even insanely faster, or at least it shouldn't, unless Red Lynx breaks the game, and that is a thing. But as of the game is how it's supposed to be built, it shouldn't stack on top of each other. So realistically, Warboy Tweak only makes sense to use after Commander Hat's initial ability wears off, and then you get a second wave push of damage potential with Warboy Tweak, giving that a second assistance of boost to all the units that are still left alive, assuming that you killed the main target and you still have units left. But I think Warboy Tweak could be a sleeper there to help out with a secondary push of damage potential. You've also got, of course, Dar. I mentioned her earlier. If you don't have Call Girl, Dar would be an amazing addition here for him. Dar is just great all around. She's still a great card, even though she's been nerfed. Angel, Wendy, Jesus, Midberry Crunch, Medicine Woman Sharon, Hallelujah, Regeneration, all these cards are going to heal him in some capacity. I really think the range healers are the most efficient here. There are other healers that are not ranged. You've got like Priest Maxi, Friar Jimmy, just to name a couple. But realistically, I really think that the ranged healing is going to be better for you. You want range with Commander Hat. I think it really affects and makes him more efficient, and they're more efficient when they're already ranged units, for them to stay safe and hopefully stay alive a little bit longer to get the full effect of his Warcry off. Then of course, you know, the spell healings. And then you also have some shielding with Kyle of the Drow Elves and Human Kite. They're also range units, which I think do really well. There are other shielding ability units. Paladin Butters comes to mind. But Paladin Butters, again, you can't guarantee that he's going to die. Obviously, he's going to shield the closest unit, but you can't guarantee all the time the Commander Hat's going to be the one that he's going to shield. I mean, I guess if you're overly skilled, unlike myself, then maybe you could get that to work, but it's not always going to happen for you. The bottom row here is kind of sleeper cards that I have. So Gizmo Ike is really good, I think, potentially. If you can get multiple swarms out before you cast Commander Hat, he could devastate and do a ton of damage, potentially, because he's going to get that boost, he's going to get that bonus damage, and he could still continue to spawn as well. And as long as that unit that you're targeting hasn't died yet, you could have a bunch of little Gizmo Ikes just charging forward and doing a bunch of damage. The Coon, I think, is a good sleeper that a lot of people might sleep on too. Remember, if you have other superheroes on the field, he's going to get that teamwork bonus, plus potentially the Commander Hat bonus on top of all that. So he could have insane potential to do a bunch of extra damage for the Coon. So that could be really potentially very good for you. Super Craig is a sleeper to me. I didn't use Super Craig in this event. I haven't tried him out with Commander Hat, but just think about it. He has AoE. Think of that AoE damage affecting multiple units with a Commander Hat boost. And he's a common card, and he's cheap cost. That could be an insane combo, just those two cards together. Swashbuckler Red, I think, could be good to help distract away. Unfortunately, she would move forward if Commander Hat was on the field, but I think she could help divvy away some of the focus of damage from the units that you're trying to attack, or the unit you're trying to focus on, that the other units that are maybe supporting that unit you're trying to focus on. It could be a good combination to kind of mix those two together, but Swashbuckler Red, not in the best of scenarios right now. She could be better. She needs a little health buff, in my opinion. but I think she could be a sleeper card that could be useful there. But now let's look at some cards again that could help deal with Commander Hat. Alright guys, now I know this list is a lot shorter than in previous videos that I've made about these things, but again, in my opinion, Commander Hat is more of a cancel focus than an actual unit card. Like, yes, he is a unit, he does do damage, he does have health, but you have to focus on him and use him more as an actual cancel card to focus and directly try to take out a unit that is high energy cost that could be difficult for you to deal with. So a direct cancel could happen with Lightning Bolt depending on levels. Fireball could do a lot of damage to the surrounding units as well as to Commander Hat. It may not kill Commander Hat, but it could kill anything that Commander Hat is boosting. Now, as long as Commander Hat is alive, remember, any other units that you add to your allied or that your opponent adds to his arsenal, if Commander Hat's still alive, all of them will get that boost. The Warcry doesn't wear off when those initial units die. It's consistent as long as units are continuing to spawn and he is still alive. And that the targeted unit is still alive as well. So the unit that he specifically said to target, as long as it's still alive, even if you kill all the other units on field, that Warcry hasn't worn off yet, it stays active even if more units are spawned in by your opponent or yourself. Aerostorm is going to be one of the best ways to deal with him. It's not going to kill him directly. I don't think even at level 7 it would kill him even at level 5. But it's going to kill a lot of the really strong units that I mentioned earlier, visitors, and of course Bounty Hunter Kyle easily died to Aerostorm. So I think Adventure might be the best way to deal with him, in all honesty, because I have Ink and Craig on this list. Ink and Craig's beam could wipe the push out that's going against you and potentially kill Commander Hat as well, or do a crap ton of damage to him that he's easy to kill later. Sorceress Leanne again could stop the push coming at you and potentially kill and turn them into cocks for you. Satan is pretty easy, self-explanatory. Cast him, kill almost everything, and then you don't have anything to counter him, really. Unholy Combustion could direct cancel. Dragon Slayer Red could be very good for you as well. Could lower their damage output that Commander Hat is giving them, as well as lower their health to make them easier and easier for him to be killed as well. She's still an amazing card. Don't sleep on Dragon Slayer Red, guys. Visitors are good at chipping down the units that he's has at his disposal, as well as killing him fast. Remember, those units are going to be pinpointing on whatever that tank unit is, so your units still have the ability to pinpoint on potentially him or the units that he is boosted, and then once that boost has been worn off, you potentially could have the advantage back at you, depending on how many units he was able to kill. Poison, I think, would do really well against this. There are other units that do poison, but Alien Queen Red could be nice. It would be a little bit slower, though, so that may not be the best way to go about it, but Alien Queen Red could potentially kill all the units that it's boosting and kill it relatively quickly. Poison, as well, directly, could just start killing units a little bit faster. The tick on poison seems to last a little bit faster from the spell, I think, sometimes in Alien Queen Reds, but Alien Queen Reds isn't as strong as poison's tick initially. Purify could cancel out the buff that he's giving to all those units, but remember, any additional units he adds after that would still get the boost as long as the targeted unit's still alive. So Purify could be situational. It's cheap, so it's not necessarily a huge burden on you, but it's not the best way of dealing with it, but could be potentially a way to help you if needed. Tally, Witch Garrison and Lava, the slowing down the units that he is either A, boosting, or he himself, is a really good strat. I really struggled against people using Witch Garrison against him. Witch Garrison gets his charge back very fast, so he's able to slow a lot. I didn't try Lava against it. I didn't see a lot of people using Commander Hat against me as much as I tried to use him against others. But I think Lava would be great later on when more people play him. And Tally as well. That aura is going to give out that continued slow. So I think the slow cards are going to be slept on as well as a good counter. But again, this is more of a cancel card than a legitimate unit. So look at it more that way and not so much as I need to deal with Commander Hat immediately. Just allow the unit that it's targeting, maybe focus on that just dying faster, and then countering what you then have left against you more often is going to be the better strategy than just trying to commit to killing him immediately, in my opinion. So it's a little bit different on the focus for Commander Hat and dealing with them than in previous cards that have been added to the game recently. So now that we've talked about all that, let's talk about some potential good ways of kind of getting a good flow with Commander Hat and some good strategies with some gameplay to show you how to best maybe operate or use him. So normally in this, I normally talk about what I think the best rotation is for Commander Hat. I don't think there is a true best rotation. I think, again, Commander Hat is more of a situational based card than an actual strategy where you need to just build up a certain push or a certain strat to get him to be the most effective. So I would obviously get as many units on the field as possible before deploying Commander Hat, or using it situationally to cancel out a quick card that could be potentially damaging to you. Something like a Man-Bear Pig usually is, this card is great at dealing against Man-Bear Pig. You're going to have all or however many units you would have on the field, potentially focusing on him very quickly and whittling him down quickly. There have been multiple situations as well where I could almost immediately cancel out other problematic cards that could potentially do a lot of damage to me. Stuff like the Randy's 6th Element at a high level, something like potentially Sizzler Stewart, so on and so forth. There are a lot of different options I could give you here as far as cards to deal with. Hopefully, however, it's not Sorceress Leanne you're targeting, because then, of course, Sorceress Leanne could transform and then potentially wipe out your entire push. It would be good to use against something like Satan, who again is a high energy cost as well, but only if Satan had been cast beforehand and you cast Commander Hat following Satan's deployment. So hopefully Satan doesn't kill all of your units first, right? Because that would kind of stink. But there isn't, again, a specific deck that really works well. Commander Hat, again, focus on him as kind of a card just to sit in your back pocket and use when it's situationally viable for you. Don't just assume that in every match, in every scenario, or in every rotation that you have him available to you, you need to immediately deploy this card and use its ability. There are a lot of cards that kind of have this situational niche strategy to it, and to some people, they're not really a big fan of that. And if that's the case for you, I would not have this card in your deck. But I really think this card will really help silver-ranked players get through the silver struggle bus that could be potentially there. As of right now, this card is available in Arena 1 of the arenas. That could change at a later date. I assume that this card will most likely fit realistically in a manner that's more fair and balanced in Arena 10 or Arena 9. I think that any arena prior to that, this card is much too strong in all reality. It's really a great way of dealing with Man-Bear Pig, which is a menace in Silver League, as well as other high-level cards or high-energy cards that really do a lot of damage and can be devastating to you. It's great at helping deal against superheroes. It's a good anti-superhero and anti-heavy tank deck, which can be very good, again, for more lower-level play. But if this card stays to where it's even available in Bronze, I would highly suggest, if you have the potential to get or are playing this game right now during an event that it is live, get a copy of this card. You're going to want it. It's going to help you a lot. I wouldn't suggest necessarily playing this card at level 1. I would hopefully you are able to get it to at least level 2 or 3 to play it. I don't know. This card seems to have very good scaling with it, so it should be strong even at a relatively lower level. But if it's at level 1 that you just leveled up from 1 to 5, I would not use this card. I would wait till at least level 2 or above to really get the potential of the additional damage and speed boost that it would give out with this card. The range on this card is also insane. As you'll see here on screen, I'm showing you the range of the card, of how far the cone actually goes. 10 is an insane range. It's almost from new kid to new kid. So use that into consideration. Use that in your strategy. You don't have to necessarily play Commander Hat at the midline. Just know that you can play him a little bit further back to keep him safe, and then be able to use, hopefully, whatever you have at your arsenal around him. Take out pesky, high-cost unit that you're tired of dealing with in that push. Alright guys, so there we go with our how-to play kind of with Commander Hat. Hopefully this video was very helpful to you and kind of give you some different strategies and some situations that you can maybe get the most efficient use out of this card. I do like Commander Hat a lot. I think it's a fun card. I don't think it's the strongest card of the game. I don't think it's anywhere near as OP as Dar was. But Redlings, please fix until the unit completely goes through the death animation. Until that happens, this card is not as fun as it potentially could be, or as good as it potentially could be. Don't sleep on this card, guys. I'm telling you, this card is going to be good, and it will be nerfed at some point. I don't know when, but it will probably get the Mary Jane Randy treatment that in a few months from now, once people have him to a legitimate level, it'll get nerfed. Calling it now. You know it's going to happen. But until then, enjoy this card, because this card is fun, and I do like it myself. But thank you guys for watching. Again, hopefully this video was helpful. Let me know any thoughts and feelings you have, or disagreements, or agreements you have with me down below in the comment section as always. And until then, you know who it is, and we'll catch you in the next one.